Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. I've been away on tour for the last month with Italian band Gadan, and we played all of the great Irish American festivals across the Midwest, finishing up recently in Kansas City. I'm back in Ireland now and back into the swing of creating music lessons and YouTube videos. So if you're liking this stuff, please take a second, hit the like and subscribe button, and we're going to crack on today with a polka. Indeed, some of you know my distinct love of polkas. Actually, I don't dislike polkas at all. It's just that there's so few notes in them that I, as a overly ornate player, find it very hard to put ornaments into them. But as tunes to play, they're fantastic. Now, this is a tune written by the great Donal Lunny from the Bothy band and Planxty fame. It's called the Tolka Polka, and it is unusual to say the least. So here's a flavour of the tune. 3 parts. First part straightforward. Second part, there's a little bit of picking work that we're going to talk about. And then the third part, rhythmically, is a nightmare. But it's a great tune to play. But I'm going to show you how to figure out I'm going to show you how to figure out the rhythm of the third part, because if you try to play to your foot tapping, well, for me, I get it completely wrong. So here's the tune, and then we're going to break it down. A brilliant piece of music in actual fact. And that third part, it's really, really clever. I'm going to show you how to play it, because as I said, if you try to tap your foot and play it at the same time, definitely if you're me, you get utterly confused. This is a real fun one to play for guitar players who don't know the tune, because that third part sounds like it has extra beats. It doesn't. It's just the 8 bars, but it's where the emphasis falls. Anyway, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Let's work through the tune slowly. First part. Very straightforward. Key of A, minorish. So there's nothing complicated in that. Okay, there are some demi, hemi, semi-quavers. So there are some 16th notes, or I'm useless at the music theory, haven't I? There's some very fast notes. That might be the place where you need to put the work. Now, polkas are in 2/4 timing. Reels are in 4/4, so polkas 2/4. So we're going to be doing down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and that's pretty straightforward. Now, when I'm playing it just there, it's really slow. So if you were to play this at polka speed, then this becomes a challenging passage, because suddenly it's very, very fast. So when you're practicing this tune, I highly recommend that you take those 4 notes, which is half a measure. Play them really slowly until you have them perfect. And then slot it back into the tune. So that's part 1, dead easy, apart from the fast picking part. Now we're going to get into the second part, which starts with a lovely D chord. And then we're getting into the picking, because we have a series of downward melodic moves, which means that the picking is moving up towards your face. Okay, so the melody is going down, but the picking is going up towards your face. Sometimes that can cause a little bit of an issue, because string changes, string crossings, are where picking sometimes breaks down. So that's only just for you to bear that in mind. If you're like, oh, why is this bit difficult? Just be aware it may be because the string changes that you're doing are moving up in a physical direction. The melody is going down. Sometimes you'll find that the directional change as the picking moves up might cause a little bit of difficulty with the down, up, down picking. So we'll look at this slowly. Again, it's about taking the fast parts and practicing them slowly. I'm going to play it with a little bit more speed right now, just once through. So the first fast section. So this works very well, down, up. Down, up, down, up, down. And you're coming off the two notes on the top string, which are down, up. And on that up, you have to travel past your A string to catch the next note on a down. Okay, so sometimes that might feel like a big movement, and that's where you need to slow it right down. Now, on measure 1, 2, 3, 4, at the end of the fourth bar, the melody goes back up to a B. So it goes. Now, that's the B that I find hard to catch cleanly every time. So I'm going to leave it out and instead put a long G note in. So instead of it sounding like this, I'm just going to leave a long G. I'm sure Donal will forgive me because it just makes for a cleaner passage. So one time through the second part slowly. There is one little bar that might, now that I play it slowly, might just need a little bit of attention. And it is that section. And it's where you've got a C note, which is fret 3 on the A string, going to a high G, which is fret 3 on the E. And that's fine. The next note is fret 5 on the A string, which is a D. And so that needs a bit of work to get up to that. Okay, because you've flattened out your middle finger to catch the C and the G. So you have a couple of options. One is to not flatten and to jump, which makes it easier. The issue is coming from the flattened middle finger and then stretching the fourth to get up to fret 5. So by jumping the middle finger from A to E string, you remove that issue. Another way to do it would be to slide your index finger from fret 2 on the B note and use that to catch fret 3, middle finger on the E string to catch the G. And that gives you an easier movement up to the high D. So there's a couple of different options for that little bar. And now we're on to the squirreliest of squirrely, the third part. So, if you try to play this and tap your foot, it eventually comes back right about 3 bars from the end. But for those first 2 bars, and this is the cleverness of the tune, by putting that longer dotted semiquaver, dotted quaver, in, it gives the impression that the downbeat is coming on that long E. And therefore it's not falling squarely on the 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 or even the 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So when I listened to this tune first, I'm like, what the heck is going on with the third part? Then I sat down with the notes, and as the notes were written out in 2/4, even that was kind of confusing because you have these tied notes across bars and stuff. So I came across a version where it puts the first 2 or 3 bars into 5/8, which makes no sense if you try and count it in your head. But what it does is it gives you markers in the road that you can remember in your head. So the first 2 markers are the same. They're the first 2 measures. And so now you're going to do them as just blocks. You need to kind of forget about the downbeat. You need to forget about the dump, 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 or your foot tap. For me, I stopped tapping my foot for this third part. So you build up a little series of bars until the tune writes itself and gets back into what we would consider to be kind of regulation 2/4 downbeat. So the first 2 blocks, or the first 2 markers, are the same. So you just play them as individual pieces. Then you need to learn the next block, which is, and again, that's 1 and 2 and 3 and. So it's not, again, it's not a 2/4 bar, and that's the tricky part. So you just learn it as a block, as a marker in the road. And then you're back into regulation. So in essence, what you're doing is you're breaking the third part down into 4 blocks. The first 2 are repeated and they're in 5/8. Then the third block has essentially got 3 beats in the bar. And you just learn it as those 3 separate pieces. And then you're waiting for the third marker in the road, which is back into regulation 2/4. And it's just that because of so much time spent in Western modes of music, 2/4, 4/4, 6/8, things like 5/8 and we just don't know. We just don't know that internally, so we don't feel the beat. It conflicts with what we're used to. All Western music, I mean, all pop songs and rock songs and everything, they're all in 4/4, 6/8, 3/4, and that's what's inherently programmed into us. So to do something that goes away from that, we need to figure out how to play it so that it works with our brain. If you did it for long enough, you'd be able to switch in and out of these modes. And like, this is where the amazing percussionists and musicians and the Bela Flecks of the world who can just internalize all these different rhythms without issue, I haven't done that because 99.999% of everything I've ever played has been in Western mode. So when something like this comes up, it's like such a conflict internally. So I need tricks to get around it. And these little building blocks. And again, here's building block number 1. And repeat it. Number 3. And all the time, I'm heading for the security of this piece. Because I'm back into the rhythm that I understand. So here's the third part one more time. So when I notate this on Sound Slice, I'm going to do that third part as 3 bars that are in 5/8. I think it's 5/8, 5/8. Maybe that one is 6/8, and then back into 2/4. Something along those lines. It just visually means that you can follow it, and it makes a little bit more sense. So it's a polka, which means that there aren't terrific opportunities in it for loads of nice ornamentation, and that's just fine. And in actual fact, because of this particular style of polka with lots of those fast passages, just playing it is enough. So here's one round through the tune on Sound Slice, and if you're on my Patreon, you'll see this. I'm going to have this played very slowly as well, so you'll have just a slow version that you can play along with right through from start to finish. But just for the purposes of listening to the tune, for you guys on YouTube, and thank you for watching, hit the like and subscribe, and head over to Patreon if you want to get access to like literally 100 different banjo lessons right now. And there's big things coming on Patreon in the next couple of months. I'm working on a whole bunch of upgrades and interesting, fun stuff. So the Tolka Polka by the great Donal Lunny. I'm sure Donal's not watching my channel, but if you are, I wish you well in your health recovery and can't wait to see you back on stage with the Bothy band. Thanks for watching.